Right lads, so I'm sure we all remember Wave 6. It brought great characters, great tracks, and of course the topic of today's video, it brought the controversial bagging update. The bagging update basically made it so if you stop at an item set, you can only get 2 good items from that set, and anything after is guaranteed to be pretty bad. And this update was seen in 2 different ways. Either it was pretty bad because it completely changed the way that top players had to play the game, or pretty good because this update did incentivize players to start front running much more often. But anyways, I bet you're wondering why I'm making a video on this well over a year after Wave 6 released. Well, that's because recently this tweet from Mankalore popped up on my timeline, and this tweet probably caused most of the controversy from the bagging update. Basically what this tweet is Mankalore found a fix around the bagging update. You see, if you get your designated 2 good items from the item set and then fall off the map nearby the item set, the respawn in a sense kind of resets the item set for you, so you can go back to the item set and get another 2 good items. And to say casual Mario Kart players were not happy about this discovery would really be an understatement. This tweet was absolutely flooded with just the same comments of get good and just play the damn game. And looking back at this a year later, I really do realize just how pointless all of this whining really was. I mean, let's take a look at Mankalore's clip again. Sure, he is able to dive off the track and get more than 2 good items from the same set, but there's one massive problem with the strat that he's doing. He is losing an absolute shitload of time. I mean, sure, if you can dive off the track right next to an item set, you can bypass the bagging update, but it's almost never worth it because of the time that you lose. Now, I did say that the strat is almost never worth it, and that's because it's somewhat worth it in 6v6. In 6v6, also known as Clan Wars, the shock is by far the best item that you can get for your team. The strat still isn't worth it in every case scenario in a 6v6 since you do have to sacrifice your race pretty much, but if your team are in a situation where if you don't pull the shock you pretty much lose the race, which can happen, then that's the only time where this strat is even somewhat applicable. So basically what I'm trying to say is that all the controversy and the hate to this discovery was so unneeded, especially because all of the people hating on this, at least from what I saw, probably won't be playing Clan Wars anytime soon, so they will pretty much never have to come across this in their lifetime. To add on to that, I do think that some of the stick that some of the casual players give to competitive players is just a little bit ridiculous. This is obvious bias from someone coming from the competitive scene, but I think people having a passion for the game is completely fine, and I just think it's absolutely absurd that some people just cannot respect that in the slightest. But of course I can rant about that another time. Let's just get back to the topic at hand. So the final question I have for the video is, was the bagging update actually good? The opinions at the time of the update were stereotypically that the competitive players did not like the update and the casual players did like the update. And me as a competitive player that did not like the update at the time of its release, I have to hold my hands up and say I was completely wrong. This update was fantastic simply because it did what it was aiming to do. It made front running much better than bagging. A great example I can give you is Excitebike Arena. Previously, my strategy on this track was always to run up Triple Shroom Star, but after the bagging update, since getting Triple Shrooms then a star was up to a lot more chance, I did find myself front running this track a lot more. And funnily enough, Excitebike has turned into one of my best tracks driving wise just because of that. And this update made an even greater impact in 6v6. As I stated before, the shock is by far the best item you can pull for your team in a 6v6. And the bagging update basically made it so you couldn't pull it as reliably, giving teams a lot more incentive to try and push for the front rather than relying on bagging for the shock. So in conclusion to this entire video, was the bagging update a good change? I think it was a fantastic change. But was some of the hate and controversy pretty pointless and pretty funny to look back at a year later? Absolutely. Anyways, that is enough waffle. If you're a Mario Kart nerd like me, then you should subscribe because I think we get on pretty well, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.